Ladies, gentlemen, let the show begin. Alright, do you like video games? And I know you do. What about entertainment? We got that too. Video game, I'm on a video game. Video game, oh, what's the name? Video Game Armada. This is one Tron, the Gamer Boss Braun.
And information number 2 Backlash.
And the First Lady of Media Blue.
Coming back to you with another review.
Woo-hoo!
Yay!
Is this another Marvel movie?
No.
Are you sure?
Even though the actor does play in Marvel movies, no, it is definitely not a Marvel movie. Too many F-bombs.
Oh, F-bomb.
Unless they up the F-bombs by 100% in the new Marvel Cinematic Universe, then I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, it is called Stuber. And you know what? It's just as action comedy, almost 90s movie as you can get. And that is not a bad thing. Oh, no. So, to start, Backlash, if you will. The story. Let's story, please.
All right. So forgive me, people. I wish I knew this guy's name. Who's a new upcoming comedian on the block.
Are you sure?
I wish I knew his name so I could give him credit, but the guy I don't remember his name plays Stu. He's this guy who works at this outdoors and sports store. By day, by night, he's an Uber driver. Which, of course, even though this movie lampshades their policies and take jokes at their expense, they get a pretty good hefty advertisement out of this movie, big time. But anyway, he's kind of a wuss, He lets his female friend, who he's desperately in love with, rope him into a new business venture. Who's picked on her at work, and he really doesn't stand up for himself. And he even has an electric car. Am I right? But anyway, he meets his odd couple. He's the Felix Unger to that Oscar Madison that is Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista character Victor is aged but still jacked like he's a WWE superstar police officer who is tracking down a big case against this criminal heroin dealer and killer. When one of his informants calls needing help, he's on his way to stop the bad guys and save the day. One problem: he decided to get laser corrected surgery, so he can't drive and do much of anything without assistance. Even though when we get to the part where we talk about some of his strengths, you'll see he's still pretty capable in his own right. But his daughter, before the main plot reveals itself, who has a gallery opening, and she wants her dad to really come, signs him up for Uber. And you think you know where this is going. Can these two work together, share an electric car without driving each other crazy? The answer is no. The answer is a firm no. Hilarity ensues. Bronze.
Yes, but will they survive the day? Also save the day? You have to watch the movie to find out. But for me, I'm going to have to... And we're talking about the goods now, I'm assuming here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the goods? Yeah, I will have to say I did like the cast of characters. Every one of them had their own little personality. They had their own little character. Even the one scene of uncomfortableness where it's expletives, or not expletives. It should not... let's just say you don't take your kids to see Stuber. They were also, unique in their own way. It actually made that cringe-worthy scene actually quite tolerable. There's some things that I am glad I avoided, but all the things, for the most part, I enjoyed. I also definitely liked the action, which there was a fair bit of it. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to expect when coming to see this movie. I was hoping it was going to be just a little entertaining, but it actually turned out to be a lot entertaining, in no small part to the action that happened within the movie. I also like the fact that it was kind of a take of all the of some of the more traditional '90s action cop style movies that you don't really get to see so much anymore. And don't get me wrong, I do enjoy my Marvel movies and my superhero movies when they come about, but they sort of feel like they taken over the landscape. So I'm always happy to see things that are both action oriented yet have a firm sense of comedy, and they do in Stuber as well. I've had some moments that were pretty funny. I definitely enjoyed the antics of Dave Bautista's character, which is a throwback to the 90s style action heroes, and the actor who plays Stuber, who is, for a lack of a better label, a millennial in every way, shape, and form, trying to get the 90s character to be in touch with his feelings, show that it's okay to cry, not be a raging punchaholic where the 90s action guy wants to just punch his problems away, stop the bad guy, and also mend his what is it called, estrangedness from his daughter. All the tropes are there, and I love them, every single one of them. Just love them. But
You old softy.
well, what can I say? I love the fact that it is a fusion of both 90s action and millennial sensibilities. So, yeah, what's not to love? Anyway, who's next?
Well, I guess that would be me. As far as the goods, I actually thought the movie was cute. It was a kind of movie that, if it didn't have so many F-bombs and some other odd references, you actually could take your kids to, and you guys would probably laugh from the time you get there until the time it's over. A lot of slapstick, a lot of corny humor, but it was a light movie, and the fact that it had the F-bombs, well, you might not want to take your kids, but certainly you'll enjoy going to see it, especially if you want to have a good laugh. You will laugh the whole time. All that being said, I think the characters that played the movie were pretty well suited for the roles. I gotta admit, though, Bautista, as buff as he is, as cool as he is, it's a little teeny bit of a stretch to have him come across for total comedic character. Although he does pull it off. Although,
He does it always with Drax the Destroyer. He's always funny with that.
Yeah, he was always funny with that because he didn't have but like the one-liners, and they were always just spot-on one-liners, and then you move to the next character. But here, he literally had to carry the movie, him and the other character, full of comedy. That had to, be partial straight man, partial one-liners, and for him, he did it. But I still see Bautista, the WWF superstar, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was a well done movie. I think that the overall aspect of being able to be entertained in that realm with just basically a very few characters, because if you look at the lineup, there were probably just a handful of cast. But I think everybody pretty much will enjoy it.
Yeah, just don't take the kids.
Don't take the kids.
I'll say this. Look, first and foremost, I gotta give this movie. Let me give the movie its usual obligatory credits before I start getting into some of the weirder goods that I have about this movie. The comedy was very, very good. I thought it was funny. Not every joke landed, but there was constant smiles for me from the beginning to end. I thought the way they approached adult topics was, not nothing new per se, but any lesser movie would have taken those jokes way too far.
Yeah, I was worried about that.
But
too.
Stuber knew when to stop. Even in the one scene where he was really awkward and Victor couldn't see what was going on and he thought it was something else like Mr. Magoo. They didn't exploit the people and the clientele the people that working there, the clientele that were there for cheap laughs. They didn't make any raunchy humor out of it. In fact, this one big character, he probably stole a scene in the movie. In one scene in the movie. Not enough to take over the movie, but I was like, huh.
You did well enough, element.
Yeah, I like this guy. It's like, but he was just like Stu's wingman for like a minute. It's like, wow. But anyway, I also liked the action was amazing. The action, I'm seeing MCU movies now, all right? So it never hits that high, but it was also gritty, which MCU movies can get to, but not very often. And I kind of loved it, and that brings me back to what Bronze was saying. It gave you that '90s action rush out of it.
Yeah.
You know, I loved. I'll give him credit for also both enforcing, but also ignoring some of the tropes that have been in '90s action movies, like throw a flammable thing at a bad guy and like make it explode, or jump in front of somebody, or blow out their tires. It's like awesome. Batista, you know, he's not the strongest actor. You know, he's got big shoes to fill with the likes of John Cena and Dwayne Le Rock Johnson. But for what he is and what the role was, I think he fit quite nicely like a glove. And even though they made fun of his big muscular frame, I thought he also fit like a glove. I mean, this is one of the few times you can actually say him and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the same sentence. As I mean, even with this thick Austrian accent, Arnold can act circles around Dave Bautista. But you look at these guys' big beefy builds, and they're the leading men of these roles. No one's gonna care. They just did.
Fair. That's very fair.
The guy. I really wish I knew this guy's name, but the guy who played Stu, he was fantastic in this movie. You felt for him. You know, he was like spineless butt monkey one minute, and then coming of age kind of hero the next. And you know, whether it was played for laughs or just played for comedy, he really grew as a character, and I love that. Whoever did the sound mixing and sound editing in this movie, they deserve Oscars, because those gun sounds were so crisp. I couldn't believe it. Like, wow. That really made me feel immersive. That really made me feel immersion in there. I also liked how they kind of, it's like, because even when Dave Bautista was training in WCW, but didn't get there because of folded, and then he was in OVW, the WWE, former WWE developmental territory, he was already a grandfather. I'm glad they decided to say, hey, you guys think this guy might be a young guy because he's in these MCU movies and has all this body pain, right? Well, nope. He's old enough to have an adult daughter, which he does. And it makes sense. It's not weird. He has an adult daughter, and that plays a big role into the movie. I thought, okay, that's cool. It's kind of like life imitating art just a bit with Dave Bautista. I also kind of like that they did give, and Bautista, to his credit, pulls it off fairly well. They did give Victor a little bit of relevant nuance. You know, it's just like, he's very protective of his daughter. I loved this. Oh, there's this one scene where he befriends someone in the middle of the movie, and he's so protective of that person. I mean, well, look, he's so protective of his friendship that he takes care of this ally the rest of the movie, and that's like, so yeah. And one last thing, I like how there's no perfect people in this movie. You know, I mean, movies strive to not be perfect, but sometimes you have characters that unintentionally get close, or that they think they're homely or they're ugly, but turn out to be sexy movie stars, which that's what happens. And in this case, you got famous male and female, I mean, men and women movie stars.
Thank you.
But at the same time, you got these characters, you know, they got their own issues, their own problems, and no one is really made out to be like a really bad person. Not even Victor the Pushy Cop, or anyone else. I mentioned one part that Stu was being bullied or was bullied. Not even the bullies really treated with any like reverence that he's just a truly amoral person. And some of the millennial lessons stick, but so is standing up for yourself and what you believe in and making a stand.
You got to be a man.
Yep. So, there we go.
All right. Anyone wants to start with the bads first, or shall I?
Go ahead, sure.
Well, for me, I kind of find it hard pressed to find any bads here because, for me, I gotta admit my bias. I do kind of like these high octane action based things mixed with a little comedy. It's kind of my thing. So I'm probably wearing sun tinted glasses, or is that rose tinted?
Rose, but that's okay.
Rose tinted glasses, but I can struggle to find a few here. Let's see. Some of the action, as much as I enjoy, they just can't help to put in just a little too much gore. It goes fast, you blink and you miss it, but if you don't blink, you see that thing end up in that guy's thing, and you really wish that didn't happen, but whatever. That's just me. I may be a prude. I don't know. But, that's just me. And also, mostly, like I said, I did say just a minute ago that all the characters are characters and they're funny in their own way and they're fleshed out. There's one character in the movie who could definitely use a little bit more realism from the realism stick. I don't know his exact purpose. Maybe he's supposed to be like that faux antagonist for a millennial. He could be a little bit more realistic because not to spoil, but semi-spoilers. Whatever his motivations were, and when you find out, you'll say, "What, really? Really?" Because okay, okay. What? You do you, man. I guess. Let's see. And this is just a complete bias stereotype kind of thing that's personally on me and nothing that the movie did wrong, but for me personally, I could have had it be a little bit more like Go Up the Food Chain 90s style. I mean, a little bit longer, a little bit deeper down that rabbit hole. I enjoyed the movie, I really did, but if it was a little longer in the pacing when it comes to criminal organizations, I wouldn't be sad, but that's just me. Anyway, who's next?
I'll go next. I actually thought that amongst the bads, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, I didn't have a lot of bads, but there were some observations that I made. I really wasn't really impressed with the villains. I mean, maybe because it was a comedy, it was meant to be lighthearted villains, but in the movie, the villains weren't funny, and I don't think they were intended to be, but they just weren't villain enough for me. I thought they were kind of milquetoasty, and they didn't have a lot of screen time. I mean, there was a lot of action, but they're really the big boss fight was missing. I mean, if you wanted to call it a big boss fight, maybe okay, but I don't think it was with the big boss. It was kind of like with the big boss's underling.
True.
Which, even in and of itself was a little
he was
different.
pretty cool.
I mean, that character was amazing, but he didn't have a lot of depth to him. If he could have been like really, like bringing up a stereotype, of course, but odd job. He was definitely the henchman, but he had presence. Mm-hmm. You knew right away who you had to deal with. And so, I kind of not expected him to be on that level, but certainly a little wee bit more of oomph in the bad guys would have been great. I also thought that the daughter, she was cool and all, but, there was not a lot of there. She was like not real convincing that she's his daughter. And he wasn't he wasn't real convincing that, that's his daughter either. I mean, the chemistry wasn't really there.
Fair point. I mean, you could say they're estranged, but honestly, you could just say they weren't a good match.
They weren't a good match. Yeah, the casting crew just missed it on that.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, the rest of the movie overall was pretty well done. But those kind of things, when you look for a movie as a critic's eye, you tend to pick out on these things. Although if you're just going for the sheer enjoyment of laughter, probably won't even pay it much attention.
Yeah. It's just little nitpicks that you'll think about after the fact.
Yeah.
I really can't say too much that you guys haven't said already. I'll say that the final villain, was kind of weak sauce. I liked his attitude. I thought it was amazing. I was hoping he had more lines. He doesn't have a lot of lines. He just says a couple threatening things. That's it. Maybe I looked at his name in the cast. He had third billing, which is great. It's nice that they do give 3 people of color. The top 3 billing. That's amazing, but it's kind of disproportionate too. He didn't say much. He may be Japanese based on his name. That's racist to think. I apologize. But if I'm right, it's just like it explains why maybe he didn't talk that much. And it'd be crazy if he could speak perfect English and they still didn't let him talk. The other villain, it kind of came out of left field. Once you found out they were evil, you're there for the ride. But it's just like, okay, you established that insert person B is also a villain, and there's nothing enough to really get invested in that character.
Right.
It's just like, it just makes him look like a cold-hearted jerk to just kill all these people. One of the deaths especially I felt was pretty needless. Yeah, I think it was a one-off day. There's this character who's pretty much whole job.
Needless.
Yeah. There's this whole
Go to your room.
This whole character was there intended to be, and even though he plays it very straight, no lulls whatsoever, except for his reaction during one of the shootouts that he's not a part of. Hint, hint. His whole role is a joke, from why they visited him in the first place to his reactions to the shootout he didn't see. And then he's there, and then he's gone, mainly because of the villain. And it's just like, that's really not needed all that much, I guess.
For Backlash, did you already forget the one remaining rule in Hollywood, no matter what?
Oh yeah, the black dude dies first.
Black dude dies first.
Wait, no, there were 2 black dudes. I just was like, well, he didn't die first. But wait a minute. Spoiler, I guess.
Hey, you know what? The people who watch this movie, if they don't know who's going to die first, they clearly aren't paying attention to movies and possibly life.
And that's ironic when you do point out the fact that said character may or may not be the character you're referencing as Meatless, but in fact, if that is his only role, is to die, which is really sad.
Yeah. And one last.
It's action trope 101. Someone's got to die.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's when Aerith died in Final Fantasy VII. I wasn't crying big salty tears like most gamers. I said, someone's got to die. I mean, she's cute and she was my healer, but
but
I'm okay. Revenge. Let's go.
One last thing about Stu. I think when we got to the one scene where you thought they would mess up and they didn't, where Stu's pouring his heart out to his wingman about the girl he likes, that felt like really exposition heavy. It's just like, do we really need all this backstory? How you guys watched Harry Met Sally and the connotations of what that meant?
Well, that's millennials for you. That's what they do. They watch this really, really soppy movie and explain their feelings ad nauseum. Again, all the tropes were there. Everyone got perfect representation of how awkward and horrible these other sides can be. Also, I appreciate that.
Also, I won't go into detail what Victor did, but when you watch the trailer, if you see what Batista / Victor does in the movie, what he does is pretty illegal. Especially if he selected, whether he meant to or not, Uber pool, the Uber pool. But that's the least of it, And it's just like, how is he able to get away with it for so long?
Remember, this is all 90s tropes. Again, all the 90s action movies we ever saw, a lot of stuff that they do is very much illegal. No real cop would do that.
Right.
So
very much so.
That's kind of how it works. That's the joke.
Yeah. So I've said my piece on the bad. Although I'll give them one more good. The fight scene in the middle of the movie, amazing. And the shootout scene that preceded it, also great.
Well, we probably should wrap it up because it's getting late. So I'm going to give it a pass because it is a mostly good movie. The characters are mostly good. The action is mostly good, if not all the way good. All things all things considered. And also, everything was mostly enjoyable throughout it. I had very little complaints outside of what you guys convinced me of. The characters could be stronger, things could be longer. The villains, definitely could have more screen time in a way. Show the way, like Blue would always say, how they're villainous. But we didn't get much of that. It's like, big surprise reveal. Oh, you're bad. Oh, okay. And you've got a henchman. That's cool. Okay. Thanks for showing up.
I'm not sure I trust you.
Yeah, but whatever. But there you go. But you know what? It's a good movie. Don't take your kids. I can't stress that enough, because I know some people may say, "Oh, Stuber, that sounds stupid and fun. It's got a dog on it."
Taste is in it.
Yay. He's in Marvel. Don't take your kids. Good for everyone else. Don't take your kids.
I have to agree. I'm going to give the movie a pass. I enjoyed it. I had some nitpicks, but I think just the fact that you will laugh and you will not regret having gone to the movie. But, I got to say, if you happen to miss this movie in the actual theaters, it's okay. When you see it at home, you will just be hysterically in laughter, and you won't regret not having seen it at the movie. So it's a 50-50 slot for me. Therefore, I give it a pass for that level, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Backlash, you're up. I give it a pass. I think the movie did what it set out to do. It's a pretty simple movie. You see the credits in there. Not only isn't there 2 to 8 stingers in the end of the credits, they just pretty much end. They tell you how hard the people in the film worked on it. 13,000 jobs. Very admirable. And the credits were relatively short. That surprised the heck out of me. But yeah, it gets a pass for more than the credits. Batista's acting skills, for what they're worth, are fair. So, that being said, he does play that role very well. The guy who does Stu pretty much carried the movie on his part, but he was also very good in his role. I felt, again, that, there was no real bad guys in the movie, except for the bad guys, of course. So, I think the character interaction development is something that was key in the movie for me and my enjoyment. And the action was great. The comedy was great. Some of there was raunchy comedy that didn't overstay its welcome. I thought it was good, and it's well earned its pass.
So there you go. It is a straight pass for everyone here, and that means you can watch it and you won't regret it, or wait until it's on the boob tube and you won't regret it either. And so Stuber is not stupid. And that's my bad joke for the evening. So until next time, this is the one on the Gamer Boss Bronze.
The information on True Backlash.
And the First Lady of Media, Blue.
Telling you to stay tuned for the next video game Armada
Like us, subscribe.
You're doing that again, huh? Mm-hmm. Telling you to stay tuned for the next video game Armada transmission. Till then, though, take care.
Peace.
All right.